Hello everyone and welcome to this Citizencon special episode of Fortnightly Frontier. I'm your host Darjanator. Over there is my beautiful co-host Myre_Testa, or as he likes to be called, the in-game NPC one because he got his head scanned, but more about that later in the show. Welcome. It's been too long, but unfortunately...
How long has it been?
Jesus, I have no fucking clue, man. But the problem is that there's just nothing happening in terms of patches or updates, so we don't have much to talk about. Everybody's just working on 3.0. Even ATVs have been a bit lackluster. I mean, they did a two-part segment about how they're updating armor.
They did. But I mean, even so, I mean, I suppose they were kind of just like downplaying stuff because they kind of needed to get, surprise us, really. And I think they did in a really big way. But apart from that, though, I mean, I recently just saw that second half of the thing, and to be honest, I mean, any ATV segment that has Mr. Jeremiah Lee in it is a good ATV segment for me. But,
definitely.
Honestly, I was actually pleasantly surprised by the fact that they actually want to have the older models that we've currently had in the game, like reimagined for the future, basically, and making them modular, because it would be a shame if the legacy pieces just disappeared because we're now in 2017. I mean, like, we've seen legacy ships like the Mustang and Auroras being refactored, so why not the old armors too? But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the Hornet was refactored, and the new one will just be a new model, so why not do the same thing for the marine armor as well?
Exactly.
But that is not what we're here to talk about, is it, Mr.
No, it is
Myre?
not. No, it is not. So, let's pretend that we just came back from Citizencon, and it's
Sunday.
Not, yes, and it is not actually 4 or 5 days afterwards, and we're on time with the presentation.
Man, my hangover, man.
Oh
Whew.
Man, I'm just so hungover.
And killing fire with fire.
But yeah, so we came back from Citizencon, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, from the get-go, from the opening address with Chris Roberts, with that new animation, like showing off some stuff, all the way to the very end, it was something special, man. Like, so what did you feel? I mean, so right now we're playing the opening address. What did you feel about that? I mean, it was, I wasn't expecting so much like cinematic, just production for the event. You know, I was expecting maybe something at the end, but they really did outdid themselves. It kind of felt like the Galactic Tour stuff or the Grand Tour stuff that they did last year, you know, in terms of just that extra mile. I mean, I know they employed a whole bunch of new guys for content creation. Mr. Terralian actually got picked up by CIG not too long ago as well. Yeah, so he was probably one of the new devs that were fleshing out things like this. Like, I really like this particular video as well because not only just because it's cinematic, but it's all in engine, and it kind of gives you an idea of maybe perhaps things that could happen in the game. Let's say somebody is taking something from a planet, and you as a pirate, you're impatient, you blow them up. Well, look, that's your hull going down planet side. You know, then you have to go find it.
And I hope the entry effects are going to be like that, because right now, at least from what we get to see, they're a bit lackluster still. I mean, they're great, but I think that's the new GPU particle system in action right there.
Definitely. Yeah, but this was really, really neat. I really did enjoy it. Yeah.
And did everybody at home and in the auditorium hope that Chris Roberts is gonna pop out of that box?
Yeah, when I saw the box initially, I was like, that's a pretty small box. Like, initially I was like, is he? I was like, it's a bit small, you know? I mean, maybe if it was like a wedding cake.
Well, actually, no, but it is a real stage. It could have a trap door.
That's true. Come out wedding cake style, like, surprise, welcome to...
But no, only SSDs inside.
Indeed. I mean, I wonder, was it just that one SSD in that box?
I think it was just the one SSD, the one that got tossed into the audience.
I like to imagine that there was more stuff inside the box than just liquid nitrogen and one SSD, you know? Yeah,
I think it wasn't liquid nitrogen. I think it was just what's it called?
Dry ice.
Dry ice, yeah. I was looking
Yeah.
solid ice. I was thinking solid ice, but wait, ice is solid. That's the definition of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bit of dry ice and an SSD for a lucky winner who, are we allowed to say this? Got 2 of them.
Oh yeah. So like in a
Yeah.
second in the video there, Chris chucks one of the new Intel Optane SSDs at the audience, and that audience already had a golden ticket. 150 people who entered at Citizencon got themselves one of these golden tickets, and so he had 2, which means that he got to pay his trip to Citizencon twice over, most likely. So congratulations to him, I suppose.
Congratulations to him, yeah. Unlike the 2 of us who only got it paid over once.
It was a stroke of luck, and really, it's a really awesome thing. I mean, I'm so surprised. I mean, like
nothing like this ever happened before.
Exactly. I wasn't expecting like Intel to. We've seen AMD before, but like. Oh, did you see that? That was Toys, like right behind him, and Mitauchi. They were so close to grabbing that extra thing, but
yeah.
Oh man!
But yeah, we got a bit of swag. We got maybe fed. Like I remember in 2 years ago in Manchester, we
ate.
There was quite a well stocked buffet. Drinks still weren't free.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was just about it. We got badges and brochures, but an SSD worth $400 for a quarter of the people attending.
Yeah, Intel really showed up in a big way this year, and now I'm wondering for the future. I mean, will CIG continue this partnership with Intel way into the next presentations? Will CIG show off some other partners? I know that they're partnered with FaceWare and stuff. I don't think FaceWare can do anything on the scale of Intel. I mean, like with hundreds of thousands of dollars into this, like
maybe they would. Like on a smaller scale, like they have different tickets, 50 FaceWare tickets, 100 Intel tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think definitely worth actually attending.
Yeah. So like, I mean, not only did Intel front the SSDs, the 150 odd Optane SSDs, but they also you see that Saber Raven in the back. Which of course is the tie-in item with the SSDs, and that link between Intel and CIG. But they also commissioned like not a life-scale, but a life size, but a scale model Raven right behind Mr. Oh my God, Mr. Ulf. Yes, the new community manager of CIG Foundry 42 Frankfurt. And I must say,
that wasn't even the most expensive thing.
Oh no!
Because up in the Universum, which is one of the rooms of the Capitol Theatre, there was a room full of PCs. There were 24 PCs there. And all of them had an Intel Optane SSD.
That is very true.
But not only that, all of them also had 7800X CPUs.
i9, they said?
i9 7800X. Yes, that is a 4-figure CPU. And
that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, bravo Intel. I mean, they've been getting some backlash with their whole i9 and KB Lake stuff, which is, if you're just a consumer, fine, forget about it. But if you're an enthusiast, you may think it's a bit iffy. But stuff like this just means that they're still quite connected to their user base, and they're not just in it for the cash.
Right.
No.
And so what do you personally think about the tie-in though with everything, Like I know some people met it with a bit of like I suppose distaste. They're like, oh, what? CIG is in bed with these guys. But I mean, like,
CIG has always been in bed in Intel.
CIG is, well, this isn't the only ever, like, in-game partnership that CIG has had with a company for something. I mean, like, even if it's something as, like, I guess, grand as a ship. I mean, like, a couple of years ago, they were with AMD, doing the same thing with their Mustang Omega. And I actually learned today that they also have this in-game, like, sci-fi, like a bow, right? That was
crossbow.
That was in conjunction with SOTA, I think it's called, Shroud of the Ancients.
Shroud of the Ancients, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not the first thing, but what do you feel? I mean, like, how do you feel about it? I mean, like, I know you got yourself a Raven, but imagine you did not. Imagine you didn't.
I did. I still think it's good because Intel, being such a great force in the industry, they do everything in a very calculated manner. And if someone like Intel has the faith in CIG, enough faith to do such a thing, it just is going to create a message for other people, maybe people who have been on the doubting side or indecisive about the entire thing, to maybe reconsider their opinion.
Right. And I suppose another thing about this whole Citizencon is that it's the first time that they tried an entirely new format. They did away with the single presentation, bye kind of feel, and I suppose it's thanks to Intel in many ways that they were able to do an entire day's worth of presentations and workshops and stuff at the atrium. They had devs basically showing how everything was working on like the molecular level, and then like they
not just videos like in the main presentations, which were, I understand videos in the main presentation because everything was timed, and if something crashed halfway through like it did at Gamescom, and you had to redo it, you're stretching it out, and you just don't want to do that. Just run the demo at home, record it, play it back, so you're not you can do everything in your allotted time frame. But in the atrium, they had, like I said, actual workshops, everything working in engine, in editor. You could actually take reins for yourself and see what it's like, because you wouldn't be breaking anything, but you would actually, there would be clinching proof. Here it is. You can actually touch it.
Yeah. And on top of that, like they went the extra mile actually, and like for those who went to the weapon creation workshop, they were actually able to give the dev input as to like what they wanted on the gun, like did they want to make another star kitten gun and that kind of thing, and we ended up with two entirely different weapons, weapon skins that are
skins.
Yes, weapon skins. So there are going to be 3 games,
and we made Chris Roberts put both in the game. There were 2 runners up, and then everybody just started screaming, both,
like the greedy bastards we all are. And so now there are going to be 3 different Citizencon skins for people to be able to purchase. 2 free for those who went to Citizencon, and then 1 extra. I think it's being sold for $6 or your regional equivalent, and that's in like powder blue with like a weird sticker on it. But I think so. Like there were many panels. Which one was your favorite? I mean, like there were just so many.
One of the problems with such a format is you can't see everything. I mean, I had an idea several days later. Do everything in the atrium, and everything that was being actually also streamed in the auditorium, just watch it when you get back home. But it was still great seeing all these presentations live. I think my favorite one was the graphics one.
Right. Yeah,
because I love in-depth stuff like that. The one where they were breaking down what everything that has to happen to render 1 frame, from the geometry to colors, and all the different shaders for materials, for reflections, for volumetrics, and a motion blur, and ambient occlusion, and subsurface scattering. Yeah, that was so good. I just wanted that to continue, because it's almost similar to those breakdowns for TV shows, like all the CGI that they do.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's how we shot. There's a green screen, and then they cut it away, add in CTs, add in like a sea full of ships. If I'm just gonna compare it to Game of Thrones, because I love watching those things. Yeah, I love watching those things, and this was just one of those things that I just wish they could go so much more in depth on, but they had a time constraint,
So like this kind of thing, the first time I've seen anything like this was back when the new Doom game got released, and they released a document which was basically like a browser version of this. Huh?
Which new Doom game? Doom 3
Doom.
Or
just Doom? Doom. Doom. Yeah, the new Doom like 3D game. Yeah. And they released something like this. And so I kind of like came to appreciate how much tech goes into that kind of stuff. But it was really neat for CIG themselves to go ahead and then show us exactly how it goes on to make one frame in their game as well. So much tech goes into it. And I have to admit, for it being like one of the only panels I sat the entire way through, I mean, like some of this stuff, I wouldn't say goes over my head, but at the same time, this is more up your alley, if you know what I mean.
I think it was just a good balance between super technical and understandable for the layman.
Yeah.
Although for my personal taste, I wish they could have gone a bit more into in depth for how things happen.
You want to be even more in depth, even more super in depth.
I know.
What? Why?
I know. I know one of the few people. We had a friend with us, Aloy. She was sitting next to me during this thing, and I was glancing over, once in a while. I could see just how bored she was, because it's not for everyone. But I loved it. Every time something like this also happens on ATV, I love it. Especially when they were showcasing the new fog, the volumetric fog that came with Lumberyard. I was just so into this. This is something for Yeah.
So one of like my favorite panels from the entire thing, and sadly one that I missed on the day, but I got to then watch it with the stream and stuff, was to do with the Xians, one of the 4, I guess 5 if you count the Kithrak alien races to come into the game.
And you're such a dirty human, because you can never, because it's Jean or Xian, but only dirty humans say Xian.
Yo, I am a dirty human, okay? Like, just check me out. Anyway, but I was.
And thanks for reminding me. I was actually gonna start this podcast with Schweselen.
Schweselen, actually.
Schweselen.
It's not Schweselen.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Aonai. Anyway, like.
But yes, hello in Xi'an.
Yeah, so like I was taken aback by the level of detail they went into the Xi'an race. I honestly thought that it was just gonna be, like here is these turtle peoples. Here is the different design considerations we had to to do what it is, to make these things a race in the game. But I didn't expect them to then have Britain come ahead and then say, hey. So we've made an entire language. You can see it right up on the screen, actually. An entire language, Mr. Britton Watkins.
That's not the entirety of the language.
No,
that's just a bit of it.
That's the alphabet / a document or whatever.
Yeah. It's like 160-page document.
Yeah.
As like a Xi'an for dummies or something like that.
And, I mean, like... wow, I must be like less than a dummy, because I looked at the document and I was like, what? But it's amazing as a resource, and I just wanted to touch upon it a bit more with you, because like honestly, It's awesome that the races in the game are getting this much level of detail, but at the same time, to me, it's like there has to be some sort of reason for it. It's all well and good, like the more dedicated members of the community learning Jian or however you call the actual language and all that kind of stuff. But if there is no in-game benefit of doing so, then I think that they're going to feel very disenfranchised after they've all gotten their PhDs in Jian.
One thing that I'm thinking would be a benefit is if okay, you find yourself in a Xi'an shop and you want to buy something. Yeah. And one of the people there does speak English or common or however they want to address human speech.
Right.
But he keeps going back to one of his coworkers and they keep, going back and forth in Xi'an. And if you didn't know any of Xi'an, you may not realize that they're trying to scam you.
Right. I mean, like, that's all well and good. But what I did read was the all about Xi'an culture and how that's probably not very likely because buying and selling in Xi'an culture isn't...
Okay, maybe not Xi'an.
Banu most likely. Yeah,
Banu.
Yes, that's correct. Banu, yes, they're more mercantile.
Okay, maybe it wasn't the great example to bring up when talking about Xi'an. But, something that we're understanding the language would actually benefit you more than just being the stupid dumb foreigner. It happens on Earth as well. Like if you go to France and if you don't show even the slightest appreciation for where you are, or just try to attempt to speak French to them before switching to English, because then you will have a very different response to if you just barge in and demand they speak English to you.
But to me, I want it to be deeper than that. I want it to be more than just like, oh, I'm in a Xi'an area and I'm listening out to like random flavor text and it might affect me in some way. I want it to be deeper than that. I want it to be more than just interpersonal relationships or inter-NPC. I mean, like, so exploration is something that recently has taken my eye in this game. I mean, like, I came in and I was like, road racing is freaking amazing. But then, like, over time, like, they started fleshing out more and more stuff. You can now go to planets. Every month they release a new jump point talking about new destinations and locations. And so, like, like being a space age Indiana Jones really does tickle my fancy now. So, like, I can understand and see the benefit of learning the language of Xi'an, even though it's not just one language. It's two dialects and then like several slang dialects. I mean, as Britton Watkins mentioned. So like I can see the benefit of having somebody, maybe not myself, because ain't nobody got time for that. But I can see like I can see the benefit of getting somebody onto my ship who has spent that time to learn Xi'an, who's gone to conventions to converse with Britton Watkins in Xi'an, to learn to polish the finer nuances, so that eventually we can go down planet side once we've gotten the reputation with the Xi'an to then go like relic hunting. We go find this like wall full of Xi'an scripts and like no one knows what it is or how to read it. But my dude can read Xi'an, so he like reads everything and he can tell me what that is.
So you basically want your Daniel Jackson as you go and be O'Neill.
Whatever that reference was. Basically, I want to translate
Stargate,
right?
SG-1,
right?
And so, if you don't know it, I'm gonna just end the call right now because
I don't know that reference. Anyways, I need to catch up on Stargate. I mean, it's the only like great sci-fi that I haven't seen yet.
Franchise.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's fantastic. It's one of my favorites.
But I can see the value of that level of detail and depth with the different alien races when it comes to exploration and archaeology and that kind of stuff in the game, if they want to add that. Especially when it comes to the fact that like in this game, like we're now at the year 2947. And so there's like hundreds of years of technology. I mean, like the Banu, for instance, don't have a history. And like, so if somebody found something or made something that was super high tech and then they died and they forgot about it, then, being a Banu, like a xenoanthropologist or whatever you'd call it, would be great, because then you could find that kind of stuff, learn more about the Banu culture, and actually add to the game's lore because it wouldn't exist in the first place. Like in the in-game lore, Banu history dates back as far as first contact with humans, because the Banu don't care about history. So
right, and the only recorded history is that of the humans, by the humans, not of the humans.
Exactly. So that's why, maybe not with a Xian, but if they were to go this level of detail with Banu, I would love to be a Banu explorer. Go to places like No-Go and stuff, and find out more about this stuff.
I'm quite sure that they will. And here's something you may not have thought about. Xian is not the first language that has been gone into such detail in the game.
Is Vandal? Is Vandal one of them?
Vandal must have been finalized before recording started.
Right. Before
Squadron 42.
Of course, yes. Britain must have done that because, of course, he also fleshed out the languages for things like the Na'vi from Avatar and Dothraki and High Valyrian. So it makes sense that he would have had to at least make not all the words for Vandal, but
make
at least
enough for whatever was needed for the Squadron 42 recording. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And both vocal and written.
Yeah. So this month, just to segue from Star Citizen content for a second,
how dare you?
For those who are noticing my rather peach fuzzed demeanor, it is as Twitch would like people to call it, No Shave November, which means that for the duration of the month, I'm not gonna be shaving. So like, I wanted to ask you, like, live on chat, are you gonna participate?
If I have anything to say about it, I am.
Okay.
I have a work-related thing on Saturday that may not be it may not be the done thing to appear unshaven, unkempt.
Fair enough.
So I'll see what it's like, because my facial hair does grow very slowly, and I did shave before I went to Citizencon, and this is like 2 weeks of growth, and it's like nothing. So I'll see if that's acceptable, but if it's not, then I suppose it'll only be 3 weeks of No Shave November for me.
Right. Fair enough. All right. So apart from the Xian stuff, what else did they announce at Citizencon? The Pioneer, right? The Pioneer. The Pioneer.
Yeah. That TED Talk, so to speak.
The TED Talk.
The TED Talk. You could call it a TED Talk.
By one Silas Kerner.
By Silas Kerner. Or Elon Musk the 42nd, as he's dubbed.
They did a really good job with this cinematic. Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot, and they tied it to the stage work, so that the lights in the background and all that kind of. It was a great presentation.
I unfortunately missed it live.
You missed this live?
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, didn't mean to.
Oh man, but
getting a beer.
I was glued to my seat at this point. Shive and I were at the front at this point because I wanted to get some questions into the Pioneer, but sadly I didn't actually. I wasn't picked to ask questions. But like because like we really like unleash our nerd side. When Silas walked up on the stage, Shive and I were like, Silas. People were like, who? What the? But again, I love the level.
No, people weren't like, what the? I mean, you were amongst your peers. You were amongst the very cream of the crop of the Star Citizen uber nerdetry. Yelling Silas, Silas, Silas when the dude walks on stage is pretty much acceptable at that point.
One thing that I'd like to point out about this particular video is that it's actually done in the same style as the Bishop speech, and I suppose the future redone Bishop speech when they go ahead and they redo it for whenever Squadron 42 finally does get released. In that you can see the drones flying about, and those camera angles by the drones are actually the camera angles that you're seeing Mr. Kerner through right now. So I can't wait for that, I can't wait to see how it actually gets
implemented. But there's a tie-in. You know what I want?
What?
I want maybe a miniaturized drone, something that you could carry with you all the time, to be the tie-in for the in-game mechanic of taking third-person screenshots.
Yeah. So one thing
Like,
that you probably,
if you want to, you actually have to release a drone and then control it via a mobi-glass or some other means. You know, maybe there was like a game on the Xbox, like Forza Horizons, I think, that had something like that. You basically you park somewhere and you launch a drone, and it basically always had the propeller sound going around and stuff like that. I like that, and I would like that to be in game, because everything about the game has to be anchored somehow in quote unquote reality. It has to be diegetic.
Yeah, so
why not?
I feel like you see the drones that are recording him right now.
A bit big.
They are a tad big, but they are camera drones. Maybe they're also what are broadcasting to the universe or whatever. But excuse me. But if you remember when I was on Happy Hour with Todd Pappy playing Star Marine, he mentioned how in the future of Star Marine, gadgets wise, he actually mentioned how he'd wanted drones in that. Perhaps maybe not this size, but maybe in the future we might actually get camera drones. Yeah. For Star Marine, for Star Citizen in general, that you can actually control and operate in this kind of way. That'd be pretty neat.
You could have like scouting drones or spying drones, like maybe drones that have several different not just a visual camera, but like an infrared camera or X-ray camera that could look through walls. Or maybe something to augment you and let you assess the battlefield, but much more than you could just by looking at it.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I like how they're also, like Loki, showing off their new render-to-texture feature with Silas in the background and stuff. I'm pretty sure this is all done in engine without like maybe this part right here might actually be like video files, but with Silas in the background being in sync with Silas here, I do believe it is showing off their render-to-texture in
the what was it? The bishop's speech that wasn't live, but here there's no reason why it wouldn't be.
One thing that people may have noticed though is that in terms of resources spent and money spent in making this trailer per se, they may notice that Silas himself is like a tier 3 or so model, because no performance capture went into him. He is simply the voice actor from the previous Mustang Omega trailer. Yeah, you can see he looks very, I wouldn't say unreal, but like it's more Uncanny Valley than per se the
it's
Squadron 42
less
characters.
Uncanny Valley than the Galactic Tour dude.
That's true. That's true.
It's much more believable than that guy.
Yeah,
but hopefully, you could tell that there's still some, how to say, artificialness to his animations, to his movements.
Yeah, in his face, and like to a degree, of course, the animators or the machinimators or the cryo-engineers or whatever you want to call them, the lumberjackers.
The lumberjacks. No, just the lumberjacks.
The lumberjacker. Like they obviously go in and then they tailor the animations to the way they want. But you can tell that, for the people who are like, back our money spent on another trailer, I think in the long term and realistically, they didn't actually spend too much effort into
considering the Intel investment into the whole thing, it was probably Intel money that paid for the animation anyway, so
quite possibly, yeah,
we will never know, but it's possible.
Yeah. So with that, and we just spent some time talking about Silas himself, but that was only to herald the announcement of the CNOU Pioneer, the new capital ship that they announced. What do you think about it?
I'll never own one. It's far too expensive for my taste.
Right.
But I love it. I love the gameplay it ushers in.
Yeah.
So even if not everybody will be able to afford one, because it is a fucking expensive ship. Not every person who sets out to build a colony will be able to get one, but so you could just rent it.
Yeah.
meet us at this planet and we'll give you the ores and please build our base.
I mean, like in terms of gameplay, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to run logistics. I want to be a starfarer and move other players' stuff. I feel like, this is fresh ground for people who want to play the role of a contractor, I mean, not everybody needs to own one of these ships in order to have that gameplay for everybody. Provided that the person who wants the land has scanned the land themselves and they've gotten the probe that they need as, in terms of gameplay, first of all, for those who have no idea what we're talking about, we are talking about the Pioneer, and this is the new capital ship that they mentioned is used for building outposts on planets and moons.
And is it wholly civilian ship? There's no military connotations to it. It's not a repurposed military ship. It's not a dual purpose. Like it can be used for military, or it can be used for civilian use. No, it's just 100% civilian. It's made for civilian use, to be used on the frontier of human exploration, as the speech said.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of weird or interesting gameplay that they kind of, I wouldn't say, I mean, maybe weird is not the right term, but just like I wouldn't have thought about it, but I suppose it's a consideration that was made for a reason. But like, it's not just a matter of, oh, here's a moon, now I have a plot of land on the moon, but this ship ties in with other exploration ships. You can't just land your Pioneer and then start building. You need to first of all find where you want to make the land. Yeah. Make sure that you're doing it for a good reason. Like, maybe there is like a good mineral resource nearby, so you can build yourself like a resource extraction or mining facility.
And you find that with a prospector.
Yeah. You find that with a prospector or like a terrapin or like even a 315p, something with really, really good bespoke like scanners.
Or a Carrack. Well, yes. Carrack's mostly used for, for what we know for now is used for jump point exploration.
So you find that, and then you then go back, or maybe perhaps you purchased one before, but you would need to have yourself a probe that you would then take to that land that you had just scanned, and then like activate it. And by doing so, you tell the UEE that you would like to purchase that land. Then they check your evaluations to see how much it'd be valued for, and then they charge you for that land. I think it's on a buy thing. They didn't say if it was renting or buying, but so then
if it's in the UEE, if it's on a UEE claimed planet or moon,
if it's on the UEE.
If you're going outside of that, then who do you answer to?
I feel like if you are outside UE territory, you don't have to do the whole like relay thing and then like tell them where it is. However, they did mention that if you do make an outpost in UEE space, then you are somewhat more protected, because of course there will be like regular patrols or whatever in the area to maybe prevent people from bombarding it from orbit. But then, risk reward, that kind of stuff if you were to go somewhere else out of UEE space.
So it's similar to like Alliance space in Firefly.
Yeah. So my question to them that I unfortunately wasn't able to ask was that, so yes, it's all well and good that you can go ahead and you can purchase yourself some land, but like at the moment, what do they have planned in terms of how big the amount of land you can actually purchase? I mean, can you purchase different sizes of land? What if like, can land claims overlap? Can you as an organization basically claim a large portion of a planet in order to like maybe take, I don't know, a continent's worth of like land from it? How many outposts can you put next to each other? Can you stack them on top of each other? I have had a few questions like that, but I didn't get to ask them. But I feel like without really knowing that, I would be kind of hesitant to purchase one of these myself. Because
I think you're not the only person with these questions on your mind, and once the mechanic of scanning and purchasing and building outposts is closer to completion, I think they will release at least one Q&A, and those questions will get answered.
I know. I mean, like, it's just, the thing is, right?
But you want the answers now.
Exactly.
You want it now.
I had that question then, instead of like, no offense, questions that perhaps really didn't scratch the surface of what could have been answered. And people are already buying this ship without knowing what it can do. I wanted to at least scratch some of the limitations and make sure that people weren't spending money on what they hoped it
Well,
would
I
do.
think that like on the Frontier is just going to be like the Wild West. It's, you know, every man for themselves.
Yeah.
Which is why the ship has turrets.
Yeah. I mean, on the whole subsumption front as well, I wonder at the same time if you could employ NPCs to stay around and maybe like look after and be caretakers for your facilities. I mean, the same way you can have them on ships. And if so, can you make NPC facility, you know, like NPC compounds, villages, cities and stuff using just, you know, that kind of stuff.
Just remind me that once you build your own house, you're going to have to build another smaller house for the help.
I suppose, but that is the Sienna U Prospector, and honestly, something that was really I wasn't
Pioneer.
expecting it, and also
Pioneer, not Prospector. Pioneer.
Yeah, the Sienna Pioneer. What did I say?
Yes, that's the Prospector.
I'm pretty sure I said Pioneer. Anyway, and what else? They also mentioned, or at least in the brochure, they showed off the new Mustang rework. And it's not like a complete refactor like the Cutlass, but it was, however,
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's modernized, it's sleeker.
I'm so happy I didn't sell my Mustang Beta or give it away.
I really want to see what my Mustang Omega looks like, to be honest. I mean, the image that they showed didn't really look like any particular Mustang variant. It was like black and yellow or something, wasn't it? So so I have no idea.
You know what it is.
Oh God. All right.
It's black and yellow, black and yellow. Anyway.
Yeah. So I mean,
what was it then?
The Mustang.
It could be. I think they're just going to start with the Alpha.
Oh yeah, and then move on. I mean, I feel like the Mustang isn't really much of a ship to worry too much about. The Mustang Beta is probably the only ship that might give them any grief whatsoever. If we look at the schedule report, it seems like they should, as far as the schedule report that was released on the 27th of October, should already be done. They should already be done with it. But if it's, I don't think it'll be out with 3.0. They haven't made much fuss about it. So
do you think the Raven will be out in 3.0?
Definitely.
We get to
they mentioned
we got to play it.
Yeah. So at the Universum at the venue, there's a room called the Universum, and there was a 24-player LAN party, as we mentioned before. That was like courtesy of Intel, and
yes.
Yeah, one of the ships there was the Saber Raven that you could actually play with, with the EMPs and stuff.
And you know what I did?
What?
I got into one. I immediately took off and went straight up for 5 minutes.
Okay.
At maximum afterburner.
How fast
stage
could you
2
go?
afterburner. 1300 and something.
Oh wow!
Which was, and so that basically means you actually got quite far away from the ship, and when you turn around, the Daymar. And when you turn around, the entirety of Daymar was in your field of view, and it was epic. And so I turned around, and went straight for the day-night divide.
Right, the Kylo Ren line, as they call it. Yes.
It's because it's between the dark side and the light side. Fuck you. I went straight for there. I'm not calling it that. Landed, thankfully, without crashing, and watched the sunset just in time for
them to
the
call
servers
you
to reset.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
that was amazing.
With the Raven, though, they also mentioned.
I didn't get to experience any of its EMP.
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
but...
So like the Raven has 2 EMPs, and with that, they've actually gone ahead and refactored the entirety of how they previously intended for EMPs to work in Star Citizen.
I noticed that. Because I didn't try this, but I was told that it was party to many a heated discussion on this topic. When you fired the EMP with the Raven, it didn't short you out, and your ship didn't just fizzle out, just as it does
with the Avenger.
With the Avenger Warlock.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's all well and good. I mean, like, I feel like maybe perhaps there was a bit too much I mean, like for your everyday citizen, I suppose. I mean, it's more feasible for them to be able to expect them to know to turn off their systems or whatever to make their EMP work. But I think for the everyday player that's going to come into the game, I feel like maybe it would be a bit too much, too many steps in order to do something. I mean, like if it's going to turn off the systems, it should do it in an automatic way.
Why doesn't it do it automatically?
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Or at least like when it's powering the EMP, it should with item 2.0, it should at least drain the power from the ship in such a way that you can't do anything else. That way it's automatic and you as a player don't have to think about turning things off. I mean, gameplay wise, it made sense in a way to have to turn things off. Otherwise you'd EMP yourself. But you think that a ship like almost at, the year 3000.
Like a bespoke ship dedicated for EMP warfare would take half a second to shut everything off before firing the MP.
Exactly.
And then turning it back on.
Yeah.
I mean, I could write that code.
Well, could you?
I mean, it's just and on a high enough level, it's basically 2 if-else lines.
Right.
I'm just saying.
All right. So, what else happened at Citizencon? I mean, like before,
so
like,
you've got your face scanned. I
did get my face scanned. I got my entire noggin scanned, actually.
Yeah, not just the face, the entire thing. And if anybody's not seen Myre without his signature red hat on, oh my god, it's amazing.
It's very shiny. I can actually, I can pick up satellite signals with it, like it's definitely
you know how they have these huge solar power antennas, solar power stations, and it's like a huge water tower, and it's got mirrors all around.
Yeah,
if they planted a bunch of Myres around it, I think they could increase in efficiency by about 50%.
I mean, like some days I don't need to eat. I just need to step outside if it's lit enough, and then like
and
go about my day,
Yeah, photosynthesis, motherfucker.
Myre synthesis, actually.
Myre synthesis.
Yeah,
of course. How could I be so stupid?
Yeah. So we were very fortunate to be in the studio. The entire rig itself, they said was like 50,000 pounds or something. Yeah. Like each camera.
47 cameras, and the cameras themselves weren't the expensive part. It was the lenses.
Yeah. Cameras themselves are about 300 pounds a piece, and it's the lenses, as Darj say that.
Lenses are about $1,000.
Oh, jeez.
I looked it up. Yeah, they're about $1,000 each.
Yeah. So Sammy and
no, they're less, but I think they drove up the price with just how much they bought.
Right.
Yeah, for that rig.
Yeah, Sammy and John were really, really nice people. Yeah. Like it was a really, really great experience.
And any question I had, they answered. They let me. I was the one doing the recording for the video upstairs. They let me record the entire process. They asked questions, and John was actually quite surprised because I am a photographer, so I actually knew exactly what was happening with white balance and f-stops and shutter speeds and front curtain and rear curtain for flash and wireless shutter triggers and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he was quite relieved to have someone to talk to that understood all the technical aspects that went into taking a 147-time photo of a Myre. And in the end, something happened that was great. Tell him about it.
Yeah. So again, like John is just a good sport and a great guy, actually. Like I met him afterwards as well. He's like just a nice guy. And someone in chat mentioned to Darj that who was actually holding my camera for the stream, and he was like, "Oh, well, don't forget to scan Myre with his hat on." And so John was like, "You know what? Put that thing on." And so I did, and 2 hours later, we came back once they'd rendered the thing, and we got this. Well, one second. Oh no,
we were so close to having a flawless stream.
Yeah. We got this. Yeah. So this is actually not a picture of me, but an actual 3D render of me wearing my hat, wearing my my NDA face. Ask me something about Evocati, Darj.
How many outposts are on Yella? That's the face. Yeah. And that was a completely manipulable 3D object. Like, you see, maybe his cheek is a bit whiter than normal, but that was like a control object that he used to rotate the head. And hopefully, one day we'll be able to get that 3D object.
Oh, right.
The render, yeah. No, not the render, but the entire 3D object, and then I'll be able to do like a Mag's headroom thing. Like when he's just rotating, and we'll have that for the Be Right Back screen for my stream.
That'd be fun. I mean, like that'd be fun. I mean, maybe we could contact John and ask him for it. I mean, like it's just a random like thing. Although, don't expect the actual hats to be in the game though, because
probably not.
Yeah,
the hat would have had to been scanned separately, I think.
Yeah,
because it needs to be put on heads, on other people's heads.
Yeah. Also, the hat is by Kangol. It also has the freaking Kangol kangaroo at the back. So, like, I think Chris would have to be in bed with Kangol first, before any of that could happen.
Why not?
I mean, I can understand the intel, but I can't imagine next year Chris is like, and we'd like to introduce our new partners, Wrigley's Gum and Kangol. I mean, like...
Everybody gets a Kangol. You get a Kangol. You get a Kangol. Everybody gets a Kangol.
Oh, geez. Maybe at MyreCon 2022, but like, geez.
Oh, no. Why not? But maybe. Why not?
Yeah. Anyway, that was a ridiculously awesome experience, and extremely fortunate to have been there.
Maybe I'll do it another time. They said they will be bringing the rig to other events.
Right.
I just didn't want to do it this time around because it means I would need to shave this. And that means that I would end up looking like my passport photo, and I don't want to subject people in Star Citizen to that. But maybe once I lose a bit of weight, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, I didn't think I was going to be picked. I thought that they wouldn't because of politics. I thought that, they'd be like, oh, content creators up in my video games, no way. So like I didn't even use my I did it as, I suppose, anonymous as possible, but
by using your real name instead of Myre_test.
Yeah, I used my real name. I used a different email address that they didn't know, like they didn't have on record and all that kind of stuff. But I still got an email saying, "Hi, Myre." I was like, oh god.
So everybody at CIG actually knows your real name.
It's think like Cheers. So. Like Cheers, yeah.
Like Cheers, where everybody. Oh, wait,
where everybody knows your name
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, what everybody. Yeah, well, I just wanted to sing it. I know the lyrics. I just where everybody knows your name. Bum, 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 bum.
You wanna know?
And that's CIG.
Yeah.
That's CIG basically.
Yeah. So that was really awesome. But I think nothing was able to top nothing was able to top the Chris Roberts' actual keynote address, where he showed off some truly phenomenal technology that nobody was really looking forward to just yet. This time last year, people nobody
was looking forward to just yet. You mean what?
The keynote address, the procedural planets and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, the end presentation. Yes.
And that was really awesome.
Was it like 2 years ago, where in a 10 for the chairman, he was asked about procedural cities, and well, it's a pipe dream, something that we may look into after the game is released.
Yeah,
just like planetary landings. A pipe dream, something we may look into after the game is released, and then last year we get those.
I remember
this year we get
Citizencon 2015, and they were just at Citizencon 2015 in Manchester talking about planetary landings and how at the end Chris was like, yeah, and you know, so like we'd always wanted people to land on planets and stuff, and we've been toying with the idea of it happening seamlessly, but we'll see, you know. And then like the following year, you know, seamless people to planet, and then now we have this with ArcCorp and everything, all the things that they've had you know, like on the burner for so long, just coming together to make that, you know.
The best thing was how much the whole space to surface thing has progressed when they were showing off how they were making moons in one of the keynote addresses. Basically, just he's using the mouse scroll wheel just to go from orbit to surface, orbit to surface, orbit to surface, and it was basically just like that.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, it was a pipe dream. A year ago, it was working somewhat. Yeah. And now it's basically just that.
All thanks to Intel Optane technology.
I was going to say all thanks to Frankfurt.
Well, of course.
And the Foundry 42 studio over there, which should probably be renamed to Hogsworth because everybody's a wizard there.
They're ridiculous, man. So, like, what was your favorite part of this?
The thing that made my jaw drop the most was flying up out of the atmosphere and then looking back, and then how the sun was reflecting from all the rooftops and the surface of the planet.
Right.
Also, this scene.
Yes, this scene right here.
This scene when he actually walks out of the door that everybody's been trying to glitch through ever since Area 18 was incorporated.
Oh, yeah. I just love them showing off render to texture. I cannot get enough of that. I will be hailing each and every one of you. And it's like, hey, it's me, Myre, your cousin. It's time to go bowling. Like, I just love the fact that you can like show up on people's cameras and stuff, and with head tracking and face tracking, I'm gonna call you up. I'm gonna call Jaylee up, and it's gonna be like, what is it, Myre? I'll be like, and just hang up.
Then you won't have the 60 frames per second approved camera, and it'll be like, hey, it's your cousin. Let's go bowling.
But at least, I mean, like, you can use any camera at least.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The camera that was used on the FOIP the demo computers. Demonstration. By the way, those were running all the time.
Right.
From when we were let in until the very end, those demo computers, 4 of them were running in the atrium all the time, and they were just running. Okay, they were running high-end Logitech cameras, but it wasn't like a bespoke unit like you would need for Track IR or Oculus or stuff like that. It was basically using a high-end webcam that anybody can buy for not that much money, and oh my god, that looks amazing.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask Chris from FaceWare is you mean this
that Chris, yes.
Yeah, Chris from FaceWare is so when you have that camera running and capturing you for FaceWare and the rig, can you still use that same camera for streaming? Or is it like a one or the other kind of deal? Because that would kind of be a deal breaker for me.
I would think it's either one or the other. Just like in Windows, you can only use a webcam for one program. Like if you have OBS running and you have Skype running, you can't use it for both at the same time.
Yeah.
It's per program resource and not a shared port, unless they create sort of middleware that would add maybe a frame of delay. If that's a very optimistic estimate, a frame of delay which would split the video, and then a part of it, well, one instance would go to VoIP, and the other instance would give you like access to the pure video stream.
Right. I mean,
that you could actually. I mean, you have his business card. Shoot him an email. I mean, when you talk about other things, you could ask him about that as well.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess for me, it's not so much of a deal breaker anymore as it was like last week. I just got myself another Logitech like C920 so I could like have my unboxing camera, which is also going to be used as my like my joystick camera now. But still, like the less kind of USB ports I have to use, the better.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to do is I'd like to like maybe make a forum post somewhere on Spectrum or something with like people's concerns and like actually, I mean, I know that Relay already had like a little bit of a back and forth Q&A with FaceWare, but I'd like to just ask more questions, more related to like what they have planned for the future of the technology.
We could maybe ask the man to appear on our podcast.
We could do that too. That's actually not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Yeah. So speaking of FaceWare, for those who weren't there on the day, there was actually a section of the atrium at the show floor, not cordoned off, but like cut away for FaceWare demonstrations. So like people could actually see it for themselves. It wasn't just something that was like canned last minute for Gamescom. It was, you could actually like do it, and it was 1-to-1. I mean, it was a 60 FPS Logitech Brio, but it was 1-to-1. I moved my head, and the character moved his head. Like it was.
Saw no noticeable delay.
Yeah,
I was able to get my character to break his face, and it ended up looking like Popeye in some instances. Like,
yeah, I mean, like sadly, the things that are missing are tongue animations, and that's because to do that they'd probably have to, I don't know, how would you do tongue blend shapes?
I want to do this.
Maybe you would have to like get a volunteer with a pierced tongue to wear like a diode on their tongue or like whatever you'd call it, and then they'd have to then like take pictures and stuff. I feel like that's probably the only. You
wouldn't have to. You can probably just put something on the tongue.
That's true. That's true.
You wouldn't exactly have to pierce it. I mean, that would be.
Going above and beyond.
Going above and beyond, yeah, well, sure one. Also, probably not. I mean, for a tongue isn't that detailed. I mean, it's just a single muscle.
I mean, it's a bit more than just a single muscle. Tongues can do a lot of things.
Are you sure you want to talk about those things?
Well, I mean, like they can roll, they can like, it can do a whole bunch.
Those sort of things.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, maybe like you could like, I don't know, make the volunteer like suck on like an atomic green chupa chup or something, so their tongue gets dyed green, and you could like work on it like that. Maybe. I don't know what you're thinking about, Darj.
But I'm just saying, you could for the tongue use like hand keyframed animations because there's just so many different positions the tongue can go.
Right. I mean, either way, it'd be nice. Also, another blend shape I noticed that they had missing was puffed cheeks. Like, for my puffed cheeks. Yeah. I think
beaver cheeks.
I think actually one of the characters had puffed cheeks. The darker skinned individual, the man with the chocolate persuasion. Like he could like puff his cheeks. Like
the chocolate Mandingo warrior.
Yes, he could puff his cheeks, but the other ones couldn't. So I guess like it's probably just not there yet.
Probably not really implemented for. Yeah, but because it's technically not a different character. It's, I saw that. Yeah, it's technically not a different character.
What do you mean?
It's the same skeleton, the same animation driven.
That is false.
Is it?
Yeah, it's false. The FaceWare video that they released after Gamescom, when he was talking about the blinks and stuff, he was saying how when I blink, those are my blinks. Those are Liam Cunningham's blinks. Like
But I'm just saying, there's middleware, a middleware component to tracking the animations, because it takes your facial animations that it tracks,
Mm-hmm.
and then it transposes those to a standard face that does all the animations. And then, after those are resolved,
Mm-hmm.
it applies those animations to every face. It's not like it has to resolve it for every single face. Like every face is separately animated. It's not. It
No,
just
there are a
takes
bunch of blend
the
shapes that
inputs from a standard animation,
right.
which is how they're able to actually mix and match different parts of, okay, so I'm going to take the nose from this face and then take the eyes from another face and cheeks from another face.
I think how the NPCs and how that three-lateral video and the animations, how that stuff worked is slightly different from how the FaceWare technology works. I think that the different companies worked on them and they don't use the same kind of methodology.
Because, no, but I'm still saying the reason why one, like the black dude, would be able to puff his cheeks and another dude wouldn't be able to, I don't think that should have happened. Because every face should be able to puff their cheeks. Because every face should have all the animations built in.
But that's not how it works. But that's not how it works for the FaceWare stuff. They take individual pictures of the people to do individual blend shapes. That's why when they were taking my picture, they made me do like and because like those are individual blend shapes that the software would then.
Yeah, I know, but every face should have those. So I don't know why the white dude wasn't able to do that when the black dude could, because every face should be able to have the same, like, okay, so what you see is basically a mask that goes over the animatronic that is the code. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Anyway, space be
but
crazy.
the animatronic should be able, basically the code, should be able to puff the cheeks. And no matter what mask you apply to it, it should be able to render that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it was just the underlying animatronic that you're talking about, but it's not. It's the individual like image that they're basically transitioning to.
I don't.
But I mean, I think we're going into too much stuff that neither of us are too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we are trained in the arts.
Yeah.
Also, what we're seeing right now, above and over there, top left corner, top right corner, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, I love that. They actually took the time to have an 8-minute quantum jump from
Area 18 or ArcCorp
Area 18 is a town. ArcCorp to wherever they were going. Just gonna stop trying to remember.
At Hurston.
Okay. So from one to the other. It takes 8 minutes of uninterrupted quantum travel, and they use that time to have another keynote or another presentation about procedural CDs. That was just like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
It was really well done, to be honest, just to show off to people who aren't familiar with the game as to how big the universe is. But again, I mean, this also does kind of lead to a few concerns as to what kind of gameplay one would do when trying to make these distances. But I think that they made a good point that this kind of journey wouldn't be possible. What with quantum fuel and quantum interdiction and other like
and just basically obstacles
on the way. Exactly. Yeah. But it was a really neat way of just showing off just how big they intend the universe to be.
Yeah, and this is just basically going from one planet to the other. They didn't show where in the orbital path they were.
No. I mean,
but still,
didn't they? He opens up the Moby glass and he clicks on the planet he wants to go to. It's all there.
That's true. That's true. I wasn't really paying attention to that. So I think it's like could have been like a standard average distance between the two planets. It's not the shortest, as if they were at the same alignment,
right?
But they weren't exactly like on the opposite sides of the sun of Stanton.
That's true.
But that actually beggars the question: how would you get from one planet to the other if you have to quantum travel through the sun? Do you have to manually find a point to travel to first to avoid the sun and then travel?
I imagine
away?
there'd be a bit of manual stuff. You'd have to, do it yourself.
Because, for instance, like Star Citizen isn't likely dangerous, like really dangerous when you enter frameshift drive.
Yeah.
That wasn't intentional.
I know.
You get control over steering.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here it's basically point to point.
I think what would happen is that, what I would hope anyway, is that like when you have to do these long jumps, you can like plot ahead. The same way in Elite Dangerous, it plots you to different stars, and then you could just like choose which points you want to go to.
Okay, yeah.
That's one way I'd like to know. Yeah.
So to
plot your course and go around. Yeah.
You think that's already in 3.0?
Like actual courses that you'd have to like that get logged and it remembers.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I wouldn't be able to say.
Because your face.
I wouldn't be able to say.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like in the video now, you can see he's using the new navigation thing. It's a bit buggy here. Like the planet's
huge. It's a bit buggy. Yeah, I saw it. It took several times to plot the course to the actual waypoint on the surface, and he had to actually go inside
the planet.
The planet. But he managed to eventually.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can see that it's not quite ready for prime time, but you can just about make out how it works. In that image there, you can see that there didn't seem to be any like interface to save or log different destinations in that path. But who knows in the future?
It reminds me of the Microsoft Windows XP launch or announcement.
Yeah.
Presentation or keynote where they were showcasing USB plug and play,
right?
Which was like a revolutionary thing at the time. You could actually take a thing, plug it in, and it'll work instead of having to shut on your PC, plug it in, and shut it and turn it back on.
Right.
But what it did was he plugged something in, and it blue screened.
Right.
So Bill Gates just went, and this is why we're not shipping yet.
Right, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
So this is Hurston, and if people have, I'm sure our viewers are, very astute, and they all have their production schedules up on another tab, like the eager citizens they are.
Well, you don't.
You'll find that Hurston actually went into development in the way in its current stage only a few months ago, and it's still being, I suppose, like the first pass is still going through. But a lot of features here that we haven't really seen before. Foliage, water.
Foliage, yes.
Yeah.
Water was... you could see water is still a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, like, I suppose...
The LODs were very sharp and very abrupt.
I suppose water in and of itself is something that is inherent to the CryEngine or Lumberyard engine. So, I mean, like, it's not too much... it's not too far-fetched, is it? But like to see it in the game,
it's still ways away from having it work on a spherical object instead of just because water in CryEngine is a weird thing,
right?
Like if you cast your memory back to a few ATVs back, they had trouble with ships with the flight model of the ships, and then somebody realized, guys, we're underwater. Because no matter how large your map is, the like
there's
on
zero
on the y scale, above it is air, below it is water.
Yeah,
it's just hard coded in.
Yeah,
but in Star Citizen, it has to be a surface of a sphere. it has to be an object. So whatever it is in CryEngine or Lumberyard, no, they can't use any of it.
Yeah, that's very true, because they'd also have to then localize it to each individual object container or planet, you know. So
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
So
And
I retract my statement.
and there are some games coming out now, like there are a few pirate games that have such amazing water rendering. Like you have ships that are breaking waves and creating eddies and wakes, and there's just, can we have that in Star Citizen, please?
And Chris did answer your prayers, because in this presentation right here, he mentions how he wanted it to happen. I wonder how high above the water you'd have to be for it to work. But like, the first time in a video game I'd seen this was in Star Fox or Lilac Wars, and like you could fly down by the water and it'd like skim behind you. It'd be awesome to relive that in this game.
You mean the Nintendo 64 Star Fox?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Lilac Wars.
I didn't play that.
Oh,
I played
okay.
the only games I had were Mario 64 and Wave Race 64. Wave Race, which
was
was like
a beautiful game.
Wave Race had great water physics
For its day. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
For its day. Yeah, but you know that was tiny maps with bespoke water physics. It wasn't procedural. And certainly wasn't, you know, viewable from orbit. Because if it was viewable from orbit, it'd be like this tiny little square of a map.
Yeah. Oh man, take me back with Wave Race, dude. My favorite character, Ricky Winterborn. I only remember his name because he was, for some reason, across a whole bunch of different Nintendo sports games, he was cross-platform. You could be Ricky Winterborn in... Yeah, you could be Ricky Winterborn in Wave Race. You could be Wiki Winterborn in what was it, like 1080, and a whole bunch of other games as well. I'd like to know why. I'd never really checked. I just remember that being a quirk. But yeah, so now I'm talking by myself. Darj is now gone, so I have your undying attention to myself. So yeah, so Hurston is something that I wasn't really expecting, honestly. But now that I've seen this, I want to see what they have in store for. Oh, you really?
Yeah. Really.
Yo, okay. 1 second.
Yeah. One of the only 2 games I had for the Nintendo 64, and it's still in pristine condition.
So is this. It's like on my display thing there with like my fight stick and stuff.
Right. I actually, instead of buying a controller for my PC, you know what I got?
What?
A USB to Nintendo 64 adapter. It didn't work. Because no matter how well the drivers were written, it just the analog stick it didn't really work.
So now that we've seen all these planets, I mean, like we've seen ArcCorp now, we've seen Hurston. I want to see Microtech now. I'm getting greedy. I want to see Microtech. Hoth, basically,
Hoth,
So
basically,
basically yellow, but with like weather effects, basically, right?
Yellow, where you can, basically winter hurricanes and winter storms, and yellow, from what I've seen from the concept art, is basically just hard ice everywhere.
Right.
There's no powder, but you would think that on Microtech, with such being a active weather system, you would get a lot of soft snow.
Yeah, I mean,
where
like,
you may not want to land or drive your Ursar over into.
Yeah, I mean, you can tiptoe around the guacamole a bit closer to the dip, because my radar got released, and so everybody has a high res version of yellow that they can actually look around.
Oh, that's true. Where the fuck did my phone go?
You know what? I don't know where my phone is either.
Wow. I'm watching chat on my phone.
You idiot.
I'm an idiot. Okay, because they announced that my radar at the Citizencon presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still nothing.
Still nothing. What do you mean?
Still nothing.
What could you find?
It's only US.
Oh, no. I'll be back in a second.
Item not found.
I actually, yesterday I was talking with chat, and we were talking about my radar, and I was convinced to actually go ahead and try it out, and I've got it right
good
here.
For you. Good for frickin' you. Cause it's still nothing for me in my little tiny country of Slovenistan, or however you want to call it. The app is still not available.
So that's yellow right there. I mean, I apologize for the chroma key, and you can actually scan across the entire thing, like weather systems and stuff, and you can see the different biomes. You can go all the way. You can see
very zoomed in.
You can see frozen lakes and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if you can see outposts. I haven't looked. But
if that was the case, you could actually figure out where they are, and instead of having to look for them, because, well, I don't know whether the
Oops, I did it again.
Oops, you did it again.
Shut up.
You played with your Hurston.
So yeah, that's yellow. So yeah, interesting, neat app.
Okay, well, as soon as that becomes available, or I can find an APK for it, I will be checking that out.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. But I'd love to know if how deep it goes.
Is your love?
Shut up, phone. Sorry, what?
How deep is your love?
One more, Darge. Just one more. Give me a reason. But yeah, so these are the vistas on freaking what is it?
Hurston.
On Hurston now.
Hurston.
So
one thing, the Skyrail.
Sky. I was gonna call that monorail. Is Skyrail? What's the difference between a Skyrail and a monorail?
Well, a monorail, Skyrail typically I think hangs. Well, a monorail can be on the ground, but it just has a single rail instead of 2 or 3.
Right. Okay.
Because it's monorail.
I was actually kind of disappointed that he didn't land, take the monorail to where he wanted to go, and then do the rest. But
I was really happy to see the baobab trees.
The Madagascar looking things. Yeah. Yeah.
But that gives gives you a sort of sense of perspective of just of the scale of the entire thing.
Yeah. I really do like how the lighting effects work in the game, how it all blends together. I like how pristine his suit looks compared to everything else. I mean, we've seen in actually the last ATV that you were dismissing that armor does get dirty. I'm just playing. Armor does get dirty. So
there's actually 2 different layers. What were they called? V something. Anyway, something? two layers of use. One is dirt buildup, and one is scuffing.
Right.
Because you had one, he was adjusting layers, and one of them just had a bunch of gunk buildup, and the other one had on the sharp edges is where the paint was actually scraped off, and you could see the metal through it.
That'd be neat.
Could have the combinations between the two.
So if you're a guy who likes to go into FPS battles, but at the same time you like to go prone a lot, dragging your self across the floor, maybe you could scuff more that way and stuff. I mean, be interesting for sure. I mean, we're asking
I'm sure one of our viewers, specifically a certain Jeremiah Lee, could tell us all about these things and whether. If you're prone all the time, whether the front of your suit would be prone to wear and tear and the back wouldn't.
Right.
Or is it just like a general wear?
Yeah, but with wear and tear, I mean, we're asking Chad as well, like, how exactly would you reverse it? Would you have to buy new armor? Would you have to go to a cleaner? You know, like go to a laundromat for your gear? Like, how exactly would it work? You know?
That's a good question. Like,
like the gameplay implications for it are pretty interesting. I mean,
do you need to go to a car wash? Do you need to go to a detailer? Do you need to get your nails did?
Yeah. But yeah, your nails did. I was like, yeah, nails did. What?
Ooh, girl, where'd you get your nails did?
Oh man,
you know that thing.
Yeah. But I was super surprised and actually by just how flawlessly the entire presentation went. A lot of people.
This bit.
I mean, like, sure, it wasn't 100%.
When he turns around, when he turns
and
around,
the bike
that was
bounces.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
it just falls from orbit.
Yeah, it wasn't 100%. I mean, like, it wasn't a perfect, flawless run. But at the same time, there were no crashes and there were no hitches. I mean, I wouldn't call it a hitch.
At the same time, it shows. There we go. At the same time, it shows that it's done in real time. It's not a pre-rendered thing.
Exactly, because if it was, they would have ironed that out, and that's what makes it so authentic. You know, and I'm just so happy that it went the way it did, and you could tell by Chris's expression at the end of it, and like when he was meeting everybody, he was happy with how it went. Yeah, it was
and not
great.
just Chris. I was talking to Cameron. I was talking to Sean Tracy. I was talking to Brian Chambers. Everyone was just so chuffed with how well everything had gone. Cameron, who is in charge of all the cons, all the everything. Just he said he had 3 small things that he would change, but so small change that a normal person just wouldn't notice. But because he was so involved with it, he didn't notice.
So look at the cloth and of the banner up there, like wiggling in the wind. That's something that Jay Lee actually talked about. Maybe not in terms of like objects like that, but in terms of character design. He was talking about the outlaw and how like it wiggles in the wind and
wiggle
waggles. But yeah, like I love that tech is in as well. I mean,
and like, here we go.
The fauna.
It's the penis monster.
What are they called again?
He gave them a name. But it's one of the things that Josh Herman designed in one of the what they're called.
Happy hours?
Happy hours, yeah. Happy hours on Friday. And whenever he brings in a human analog for scale size, it always puts the thing he designed right in the crotch area.
Yeah, interesting.
But that was one of the things, yes.
But yeah, I mean, like, it was a great
and it's great that they actually were able to animate it and skin it and put it in the game.
I would have loved to...
Like, a few months ago that he actually just did the concept high poly in ZBrush.
Yeah, it might have been asking a bit too much to see them get shot at from where they were standing.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But that's probably the only thing that people like the naysayers like on Reddit and whatever, or at least not even the naysayers, but the negative Nancy's were saying about the entire thing. That like, yes, they showed us all procedural planets, they showed us amazing technology that's never been seen before, but where's my runny gunny? And you know, if you were able to shoot something, and then I guess it would have at least.
If you want runny gunny, go play Star Marine.
That's true.
Because not all gameplay in Star Citizen is meant to be combative. I mean, that is... It's a part of it, but most of it... I'm dare to say most of it is supposed to be non-combative.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I'm glad that they showcased that.
Yeah, so that was the Citizencon presentation, and then like they brought out a cake and they thanked all the demonstrators, and it was a heartfelt moment and a delicious cake. Did you try the cake?
I tried the cake. I didn't get a full piece, but I stole something. I think it was either from Frisbee Rocker or some other person that joined us.
It was really nice. It had like some ice cream mousse in the center.
Dry.
No, maybe the piece that you had. But
maybe the bits I had only just a bit of a sponge.
No, it was really nice. It was chocolate cake, and it had like an ice cream mousse in the center, and the icing was blueberry-ish for some reason.
Well, it was blue.
Yeah, that's very true. It might have just been berry-ish, and I just like tasted the blue.
you combined the color blue and the taste of berry, and it brought in the flavor of blueberry.
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries, right?
Could be.
But yeah, that was the presentation, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we did a lot of things as well.
7.5 hours. That's like a full shift.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, like the volunteers,
and the volunteers. Not just that; they had to be there hours in advance. Exactly. They had to be hours afterwards. I was talking to Cameron. They got back to their hotel rooms at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
After pure working, we got back to our room at 4 a.m, but we went out
different
to party.
Yeah, exactly. And this Citizencon isn't even like I mean, like, that's not irregular. I mean, at Gamescom, they were going back home every night at 2 a.m. for the entire week.
Yeah.
So yeah, and these are people like you and me, but just who wanted to help CIG. They're not being paid for it, you know? And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's amazing. But yeah,
it was an event.
Yeah.
It was something that I'm glad that when the tickets came out, I'm glad that I was sniping tickets for.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of an ordeal for both of us, wasn't it? Like, I only got in on the second
day 3 here.
Day 3, yeah. I only got in on day 2.
It's an experience.
You almost didn't get in,
yeah. I don't want to experience that again. And I know people who failed it, you know, like they didn't make it. I mean, like 15 seconds, day 1, 5 seconds before the tickets sold out. They sold them in waves of 3. Day 1, 5 seconds. Day 2, 10 seconds. Day 3, like 30 seconds. Oh my God, I almost died that day.
And day 1
anxiety.
And day 2 were like concierge only.
Yeah. Anxiety, man. What? And you know that it's not gonna die down, you know? Like the closer we get to release, the more tech they show off like this, the more interest. Ugh.
Right. And something like it's Citizencon in LA. And maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, but you could, if the volunteers were part of our community, like our close-knit community. And even if you didn't have a Star Citizen ticket, you could get a stamp on your wrist. Just, you know, if you knew the person, but maybe you didn't get it. Not this time around. Oh, no. This time around, oh, no. You got a bespoke printed out lanyard with your you have it with you?
And I was looking around for it. I think I've lost it. It's my safe place.
Right. Yeah, you had that, and you had like a wristband and everything. Maybe up until now you maybe could sneak into one of these events, but from now on I don't think that's going to be possible. Oh no. No.
Anyway, so that was Citizencon, and that was
Citizencon. It was amazing, and I want to go again.
Yeah.
Can we go again, Dad?
No, son. You've had enough.
Can we go get ice cream then?
No, I'm disowning you for your mother. All right. So, I guess you opened. I guess you can close, right?
I can close.
All right.
Are we done yet? All right.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am your host, Darjanator, and this was...
Why are you greeting them?
A post.
Hello, and welcome to the end.
Yes, exactly. This was a post-Citizencon episode of Fortnightly Frontier, a Star Citizen podcast, I suppose. I have been your host, Darjanator. Over there was Myre. And we are hyped about Star Citizen, I suppose. Whoop. There it is. In any case, thank you so much for watching both on Twitch and on YouTube. And we will see you in the verse.